The patient in this case study is a 52-year-old menopausal woman. This patient was chosen because she experienced dramatic improvement in her symptomology and rebalancing. Here the patient is in initial phase, meaning this is her first assessment and we're getting a baseline for this patient. She is experiencing menopausal symptoms, anxiety exacerbated by stress, depression with agitation, migraines, hypoglycemia, foggy memory, night sweats, and trouble losing weight. General concerns of fatigue, low stamina, loss of libido were also expressed. Here you can see the lab values of the initial assessment. In regards to the inhibitory system, the patient has a low serotonin level and GABA is within range. This low serotonin level is considered a common pattern of low inhibitory function based on symptoms such as anxiety, depression, migraines, and menopausal concerns. Although the GABA level presented is within range, it is likely upregulated in an attempt to compensate for low serotonin stores and/or counter the elevated norepinephrine level. Essentially, the patient's GABA reading may not reflect the actual body stores, so the patient could still be experiencing symptoms related to decreased GABA. One common pattern of rebalancing is a decrease in the GABA level as serotonin increases, as a compensation of GABA is no longer needed. Here the patient's adrenals are fatigued. Now the patient is running off the backup system, resulting in the elevation of norepinephrine. This can be what results in wired and tired feelings and also symptoms of blood sugar dysregulation, low libido, and decreased energy. The norepinephrine-epinephrine ratio is high, suggesting impairment of catecholamine conversion. The impediment of this conversion may be the result of two things: inadequate cortisol or the absence of a methylator, such as SAMe. This page shows the product recommendations for this patient. To initiate the neuroendocrine rebalancing, inhibitory support is first recommended, Prolint to support serotonin, and though GABA is within range, Lintra to increase GABA's function. Then, after 1 week, adaptocin may be added to begin the repletion of adrenal stores. Finally, Methylmax may be introduced to improve catecholamine conversion. To monitor this patient's progress, it was suggested to retest in 9 weeks. After 6 to 9 weeks, the patient was retested and moved to restoration phase. Upon reassessment, the patient experienced a paralleled symptom improvement. Anxiety, depression, migraines, poor sleep, sugar cravings all showed improvement with inhibitory support. Libido concerns and weight gain have not yet improved. These symptoms may take longer to address as these concerns are impacted by the adrenals, which also take longer to restore. She also expressed new symptoms of increased appetite and poor focus. The results of both the initial and retest are displayed side by side with the values from the most recent test on the left. You can see serotonin has increased, while GABA is now below reference range, as it no longer has to compensate for inadequate serotonin. This new GABA reflects a more accurate reading of the patient's actual body stores. The patient's norepinephrine has fallen back into range, while the norepinephrine to epinephrine ratio has greatly improved, indicating increased catecholamine conversion, likely the result of methylation support and the increase of cortisol levels to the low normal range. Modifications were made to the patient's treatment plan recommendations based on the changes of symptoms and lab values. Prolint, the serotonin support, was decreased from 2 capsules daily to 1. Lintra, the GABA support, was increased from 1 capsule daily to ×1 BID. To continue the rebalancing of the adrenals, it was suggested to continue adaptocin. However, due to the improvement of the norepinephrine to epinephrine ratio, it was suggested to discontinue methylation support at the practitioner's discretion. Contegra, a catecholamine support formula, was added to the protocol, although her levels were within range. These reference ranges for the neurotransmitters are not necessarily optimal for every patient, and based on the patient's symptoms, it seemed that her catecholamine levels might not be optimal for her, so we recommended additional support. And finally, due to weight gain and appetite concerns, Plenus was added to aid in healthy weight management. Retesting is still recommended, but with her improvements, it is suggested to retest in 12 weeks instead of 9. In this patient, maintenance phase was achieved relatively quickly, with significant improvement in balancing of levels. The patient's anxiety, depression, fatigue, migraines, moodiness, poor sleep, and sugar cravings have now abated. Here are the lab values from the patient's maintenance phase results. You can see all of the levels are now within range with the exception of glutamate. Low glutamate is not too big of a concern as supplementation can be used to increase levels. However, it is when glutamate is high that it can become a serious concern. Now that the patient is in maintenance phase, modifications have been made. She is only advised to take 1 Prolent capsule a day and 1 Contegra capsule a day. She may continue Plenus until weight loss goals are met, and then she can discontinue. This is a great example of a patient who followed the protocol, was compliant, and had great success in a short period of time. Here is what this patient had to say. I'm actually doing the best I've done in a couple of years. Depression, insomnia, anxiety, and menopausal symptoms seem to be a thing of the past.